Hi, it's Evie. I want to tell you about my grandma. She was born in 1909 and she died in 1995. She was very frugal when I was old enough to know who she was, what she did. And she showed me how if she got a Christmas card or any kind of greeting card for that matter, that no one had written on the inside of the card on the left-hand side when you opened it, that you could cut it in half and write your letter on the back side. Now, hopefully not an embossed one, but one that was smooth. And then you would take the envelope and turn it inside out and reuse it. Of course, today with identity theft, you really wouldn't want to do that because you don't want to send someone else's address out. She also she wore pantyhose. She was a pantyhose lady. And when she would get a run in one leg, she would cut that one off. The next pair would get a run in another leg, and she'd wear two pairs just with the leg cut off so that she had hose on both legs. Nobody knew unless she told us. She had one pair of heels from the time I was old enough to know that Grandma was coming, what Grandma's shoes looked like when she was dressed up. And she always sent them to be repaired. She never bought a new pair. Her name was Blanche. She was born in 1909 and she was the oldest of 7 children. When she was 19, her mother died and she was left to care for her 2 4-year-old twin brothers. She took care of her great-grandmother, actually by marriage, and was able to take her 2 brothers with her and care for them and great-grandmother until she got married in 1932. She had my dad in 1937. I wrote this stuff down. And she was in Missouri, and she worked in a locker plant, bookkeeping in the mornings and processing and packing the meat in the evening. Now, I found it interesting. I didn't know what a locker plant was, but basically people would take their farm animals in to be processed for eating, and she would cut them up, grind them up, however they wanted them prepared, and then freezer wrap them, and then they went into a locker that the owner of the meat had a key to, and they would come back and get their meat. I think that's very interesting. Maybe I'm just out of the loop and everybody knows about that, but I didn't. In 1945, after World War II, she moved to California and she worked at Woolworth's, and my grandfather was a long-distance truck driver. He found some land in Oregon and they moved. My dad was a senior in high school and elected to stay back and finish his senior year there, and then he went into the Air Force. So this was in 1954 that he bought land in Oregon. Since they were the first ones out there on that property, they built the road going up to their property, and they were able to name it. And so the road still today is Laughlin Road in Eugene, Oregon. I think that's kind of cool. Grandma found work at the University of Oregon as a custodian in the girls' dormitory. And when they left for summer, all the stuff they left behind, she brought home. It was everything from clothes to hair products. I mean, absolutely everything you can think of these college girls had, and just left behind. One time, it was even a dog. It was a cockapoo. She brought him home, and not too long after she brought him home, he was still shy and scared because, he'd been abandoned. Our dog got hit by a car, and she brought us this new dog. And he lived until all of his teeth fell out and he could only eat mushy dog food. I'm not sure what year she retired. I know it was in the 70s. And I know by the time I was 18, we were traveling up and down the Oregon and California coast, staying in the little quaint motels and going out to dinner, and those were such good times. Just easy going. Grandparents are so easy going. They're so much, I don't know, they're so much more fun than your own parents are. That's what I remember anyway. So I had moved away from Oregon in 1986, and she died in 1995, so I didn't get to see her again. We did write back and forth, like real letters, and she had beautiful, fancy penmanship, and she used real stationery. Everything was decorated and smelled nice. Anyway, I have fond memories of my grandma, and I was thinking about her today, so I got a few of the timeline dates from my dad, so hopefully I can keep it straight in my head. Thanks for watching. I look forward to next time. Bye.